5 years. 5 long years of staying clean, of pushing the memories down, of pretending I had moved past it. And then, just like that, I was back. Now, my life is measured in two substances, heroin and crack. Every moment exists somewhere between them, teetering on the edge of the perfect balance. When I get it right, it's beautiful. When I get it wrong, it's terror in its purest form, an ice-cold panic that spreads through my body like fire with teeth. Right now, I'm sitting here with a fresh hit running through my veins. 0.2 grams of heroin, 0.15 of crack, cooked together into that perfect, lethal mix. They call it a snowball, used to be speedballs, smack and powder cocaine. But this is the new thing. In England, we don't get the tar heroin you see in the States. Ours comes as brown powder, and you need citric acid to break it down. You let it cool just enough, crush the crack in, mix it until the little lumps disappear, and there it is, the moment of truth. The needle slides in. My hands are shaking. Same as always. It's not fear, it's anticipation. The kind that coils tight in your gut, makes your breath short. I pull back. Dark red floods the barrel. I'm in, push the plunger, and then, boom, the crack hits first, like an electric shock to the soul. It's not a thought, not even a feeling. It's a taste, cold and metallic, flooding my mouth like I've bitten into a battery. It rolls through me like a lightning bolt, hot and dizzying, lifting me up and outside of myself. I look in the mirror, and there he is, that bug-eyed, hollowed-out alien staring back, pupils swallowing the iris, face stretched into something unrecognizable. And I don't care. I don't care that I don't care. Then, like a tide rolling in, the heroin arrives. Heavy, solid. It presses everything into place, smoothing out the jagged edges, catching me before the crack sends me crashing through the floor. My limbs go warm, my lips numb. The fear is gone. The world is still. For a moment, there's something in between. A place where both drugs meet, blending into something that neither could be on their own. It's not just a high. It's alive. It's perfect. And then, just as quickly, it's gone. The first wave of sadness comes like a whisper, gentle but absolute. The crack is burning out, the heroin taking over, pulling me under. The come down from crack alone is a nightmare. A vacuum where all the light in the world has been sucked away, where hope dies and never comes back. That's why I need the heroin. That's why I can't have one without the other anymore. I feel my eyelids grow heavy. Sleep seems possible, but under it all, beneath the warmth and the haze, the sadness lingers. Maybe that's what I'm really addicted to. Maybe the come down isn't a fall. Maybe it's just a return. Maybe it's just me. Better have another one. This is getting too heavy. The last line I'll cross. I'm about to quit. Again, 12 years. That's how long heroin has been in my life, on and off. I've had 4 real periods of addiction, this being the 4th. The rest of the time, I managed to keep it occasional, controlled. Quitting has never been the nightmare it is for some. Dihydrocodeine, loperamide, zopiclone, enough to take the edge off, to make withdrawal tolerable. But this time, it's different. This time, I have a problem. Snowballs. I've always been drawn to downers. Crack was never my thing. I'd buy it sometimes, smoke it while scoring, but that was it. Mixing it into my heroin just seemed like too much effort, waiting for the H to cool before stirring the rock in. But then, one day, I made the effort. A friend of mine, also an addict, always did snowballs by preference. We were hanging out, and I thought, why not? I wish I hadn't. The moment it hit me, I knew this was different. This was the single most incredible thing I had ever felt. And just like that, I had a new problem. My habit had doubled in cost. But worse than that, heroin alone was no longer enough. It felt empty without the rock. Now, I couldn't take one without the other. And that brings me to the moment I want to describe, the highlight of my day, my morning snowball. Overnight, my tolerance resets just enough that the first hit of the day is magic. Every single time, I'm more organized than most. Sure, my place is a mess. Always has been, junkie or not. But when it comes to drugs, I have it down to a system. I have a job that covers my habit and whatever else I need to stay afloat. Thanks to that, I wake up every morning with my obsession waiting for me, ready to go. I prepare everything the night before. unwrap the heroin and crack from the ridiculous layers of cling film that dealers here in the UK insist on. No way am I wrestling with that first thing in the morning. Instead, it's neatly folded in a Rizla, sitting on my nightstand with my spoon, a sachet of citric, 0.1 g, a dropper bottle of water, 2 alcohol wipes, 1 for cleaning, 1 for cooking, and a fresh 29 gauge, 1 milliliter syringe. Some people struggle with crack through a 29, but I think it comes down to quality. If it's good stuff, properly washed, it works fine. I start with the H, 0.2 g, the full 0.1 g of citric, and 1 milliliter of water. Heat it over the flaming wipe until it dissolves. I let it cool just a bit before adding the crack. If I don't wait, if I rush, I'll ruin it. The rock will turn into a useless jelly, and that would be unforgivable. I crush it down, stir and press until it disappears. My dealer does reliable 0.15 g bags of white, and I need the full 0.1 g of citric to get it to dissolve properly. Next, I tear a cigarette filter in half, drop it in, and pull the solution into the pen, air squeezed out. Now, the hardest part, finding a vein. 12 years of this. I've injected all sorts of things. My circulatory system is a mess. With heroin alone, a miss is frustrating but not a disaster. With a snowball, a miss is game over. The crack is lost. No second chances. So I take my time, feel for a good spot. No rushing. Then, there, the needle slides in. I pull back. Blood blooms in the barrel. I push the plunger. First, the taste, chemical, metallic, spreading over my tongue from the inside out. It never fails to amuse me, and it tells me exactly what's coming next. 5 seconds, that's all. The first sensation is in my head, a swelling, like the start of a headache but without pain. Then it hits. The rush radiates from my core, consuming everything, leaving no room for thought, only feeling. It reaches my skin, and I break into a sweat. My body trembles, my head swims, nausea rises, but it's not unpleasant. My vision distorts at the edges, tinged with color. I don't move, I don't dare. If I move, I might be sick, so I stay perfectly still, writing it out. I don't like uppers, but this is different. It's not like coming up, it's like expanding outward. It is so complete, frighteningly close to being too much, but not quite. It is, without question, the single best moment of my day. I focus, trying to hold on to it, but after, 30 seconds? Maybe less? It starts to fade, and as it does, something else creeps in. Loss, sorrow. I already know what comes next. The hours stretching ahead, empty, meaningless. I'll have more snowballs today, but none will compare to this one. The rest of the day is just passing time, waiting to feel alive again. A full day of mundane interactions, pointless frustrations, before I get to do this again. A night of broken sleep before I can wake up and have my moment. And that's the truth. This is all I have now. I've crossed a line and I know it. I know what it means. I have ruined happiness. This isn't just a physical addiction anymore. This is deeper. This is something else entirely. I don't know how I'm supposed to move on from this, how I'm supposed to live without it. I'm going to try. I have to try. But I can already feel it, waiting in the dark, patient, knowing that sooner or later I will come back. And when I do, I will go willingly.